For the first time since 1972, the very first imagery of the moon has been captured by NASA's Orion capsule as it enters its closest orbit yet and beamed back this amazing HD footage for the world to see. Alright, my bad. That was actually from the Hollywood film Moonfall, but here is the actual clip, 4K resolution, best ever we have seen, of NASA's new Orion mission capsule reaching the moon and the astounding new video it sent back.
If you're just joining us, we're bringing you live coverage of today's upcoming outbound-powered flyby burn, which will slingshot us around the backside of the moon. You are continuing to get views of the moon in real time here on your screen from a solar array wing camera on board Orion.
Yeah, well, that is groundbreaking footage. Let's get to it. Drop that holiday beat. Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. So I want to apologize for not posting very much lately. In fact, not very frequently. For the past 6 months or so, I've been extremely busy moving into a new house. It's taken up all of my time for many months now, and I'm finally in and secure. And I've got my new office set up. I've got my play buttons from YouTube on the wall, a lot of, paintings from viewers and fans from around the world, and it's coming along, and I'm finally to the point where I think I'll be able to post frequent videos again, so that's really exciting. And I guess the first thing I want to start today's video about is this new NASA mission to the moon. We haven't had a man, an American person, set foot on the moon in 40 plus years, since 1972. And if you've been a follower of Secureteam, for even 5 minutes, you'll know that the moon and the UFO activity and the anomalous structures that I've discovered on its surface, and the reasons why we suddenly stopped going to the moon, after going upwards of 6 or 7 times that we know of publicly, and then suddenly never went back. We put up these orbiters around it at the time, and for years now we've been told time after time we simply don't have the technology to get to the moon, to get back to the moon, and I always thought that was very suspicious. And so I think the main reason that we never went back is because we were likely warned off. We went there multiple times, one after the other, mission after mission during the Apollo era, and then never went back. And I think it's because we found whatever it was we were looking for there, and it scared us half to death, or who knows what. But it's very interesting how we've never gone back, and now suddenly we're going back, or at least we are testing the waters, and that is what we are going to dive into real quick here before we get to some strange, anomalous footage happening around the world. We have the Artemis mission here, which is basically where they have sent the space capsule that the astronauts will be in when we do land, if we do land, to the moon to do a test run, where they're going to send the spacecraft around the moon to take pictures. NASA has promised us hundreds of hours of high definition, HD 4K quality footage of the moon's surface that is going to be captured using a bunch of hacked, and this is no joke, they took a bunch of GoPros, just bought them from their local Walmart or something, and then literally hacked them so that the cameras could be space ready, whatever that means. And so when I got a bunch of emails from my viewers this past week telling me, hey, the mission has been a success, Orion has reached the moon and is now orbiting it and is now sending imagery of the moon back, I thought that it was going to be something amazing after hearing the technology that they're using, and it's been 40 years later. And so when I looked at the first images sent back of the moon from the cameras on the space capsule, I realized that my viewers were being ironic when they were messaging me about it, because this is what we received. back and you get these crazy headline titles from all of these mainstream news agencies, such as NASA's Orion capsule captures gorgeous close-up pictures of the moon. I mean, this doesn't even look real to me. You know, first we get footage back from some of the cameras on the Orion spacecraft as they approach the backside of the moon. And true to NASA's never a straight answer kind of way of doing business, we see the Orion capsule and then we see this sort of circular potato in the distance that would appear totally craterless, you know, totally washed out, no contrast whatsoever, no defined features, and the overwhelming sentiment of people online, you know, and on videos of this being posted to social media and virtually everywhere is that, wow, this is like a total letdown. This is really what NASA is feeding us of the moon. There's no way with today's technology. But this is what we got. This is what we've got so far, you know. The images could improve, but if you followed the channel, you'll know that moon anomalies are one of my favorite topics. It's what got me into this work, you know, 10 years ago when I first started this channel. And then we get stuff like this whitewashed, I'm sure super enhanced imagery of the moon, you know, that is certainly on a delay, that is certainly being looked over and scrutinized before it's being released to the public. And so we get highly degraded footage and imagery as we've received thus far, you know, and here are some of the images I'm swiping through that, you know, are so-called gorgeous HD high-res images of the moon that look like they took the original HD pics, threw it in a copy machine from 1989, made a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and then copied it 20 more times, and then scanned it, and then uploaded it to the internet, you know, with these scan lines and these just overexposed, brightly lit areas of the craters, and, you know, it screams total cover-up to me. And, you know, it's funny because this is not the first orbiter that we have sent to the moon. You know, we have had other countries going back a decade now that have landed on the moon and have also sent orbiters to encircle it and take HD footage that has been totally mesmerizing, which is what you're seeing here. Footage taken by one of the lunar orbiters that was launched by Japan. And you can find these videos online, and you just look at the footage from years ago now, and just how amazingly rich in detail it is compared to what we're getting from NASA. And one of my favorite clips here that I wanted to throw in, simply because this new imagery from NASA is so terrible, is a piece of footage that was taken by the Japanese moon probe, otherwise known as the Kaguya satellite, where at one point during their orbit, they're passing over the moon, and we actually captured and featured on this channel when it occurred, I think 2, 3, 4 years ago, what looked to be multiple UFOs suddenly having a little launch themselves, where suddenly as the orbiter is passing over, we see multiple objects blasting up and, you know, reflecting light, sort of twinkling as they fly up from this giant crater down on the moon's surface. Okay guys, so with that, let's get to some UFO footage. We're gonna go to some viewer submissions now, and I wanted to start out with this clip because it's very interesting to me, it's very intriguing, and it was sent to me via email by a viewer who says, quote, "Is this a UFO over Fort Thomas, Kentucky?" And before we go any further, here is the video that he uploaded and linked in his email. Alright guys, so before we analyze this, and while I loop this over and you guys can start to maybe formulate your own opinion, the viewer who sent this in said in his email, quote, "Sorry for the rough video, but I was standing out here tonight outside in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, on top of a hill, where I suddenly looked up and I saw what I thought was an airplane out of the corner of my eye. Then I realized it was moving too fast, so I kept looking at the object while I was on the phone with my mom, and I told her to hold on a minute, and I took this video real quick with her on the phone. The object was bright enough to be noticed immediately and was about half as bright as one of those orangey colored street lights, and it seemed to take the shape of a ball or a sphere, and it moved fast, and it didn't lose any altitude and made absolutely no noise whatsoever. He says that this was not a plane and that he didn't know what it was, but if it was one of ours, in his mind it would have made noise." He then finished the email by saying that about 2 minutes after the UFO passes by and is gone, he then began to hear what to him sounded like jets in the distance, sort of following along the same path. So, what do you guys think about this footage? The viewer also noted in the email that that area, Fort Thomas, Kentucky, is a hotbed for UFO activity, especially recently. So tell me what you think about this down in the comments. Anyone over Fort Thomas, Kentucky see anything strange, let me know about it. My contact email is down in the video description, along with all of my social media links and things of that nature. If you have video footage, upload it to YouTube, then set the video to unlisted and email me the link to the video along with a short summary of it. And that goes to anyone with UFO footage. So next, we have some UFO footage also submitted by a viewer who uploaded it to YouTube as a short and labeled the subject of the email, "Triangles over the Philippines in the Blue Skies."
Ayaw ko balo. Reta ka na yan, maka-triangle ha?
Halo, bulangan.
Bula?
Lobo na yun, wala mo kayo edyo kasi.
Inewan mo kaya ng lobo. Awit tapay tang metong kilala. Pagdili-dili yan.
Kaya siguro ito, plastic na. Plastic bag.
And so this was captured in Angeles City out of Pampanga, Philippines. Big thanks to Amiel Ramos, or Amiel Ramos. Sorry if I'm butchering your name here. But he says, quote, "UFO in the Philippines. Hope you're doing okay. But can you please take a look at this video I captured on November 21st at around 3:30 in the afternoon?" And all he gave is the location. And so, yeah, that's all the info we have. But I think the video speaks for itself. The viewer didn't know what it was. And one thing you'll notice, and I noticed as we scrub through the footage here, is that there indeed seems to be a triangular formation of objects that I wouldn't say are necessarily lit up, but they are being lit by the sun. They are reflecting the sun's light off of them. They look to be extremely high up. And like many of these just totally mysterious and unexplained UFO videos captured around the world, there's not much we can say other than, okay, we have a formation here of 3 objects that look to be locked in formation, and to me, they don't really seem to be moving at all. This looks like a stationary object or objects just sitting there almost totally out of view, and if it wasn't for the sun reflecting off of them, they probably wouldn't have been seen to begin with. Could this be another giant cloaked craft that we simply cannot see except for the, 3 corners of it that for some reason are visible to us? Or is this 3 objects in formation? Regardless, it's definitely interesting, so anyone that was in this area on or around the 21st of November, put your comments below or just tell me what you think. And so next, in other strange news happening around the world that may or may not have something to do with the UFO and extraterrestrial phenomenon, here we have a news story from the New York Post with this very eerie headline reading, hundreds of sheep have been walking in a circle for 12 days straight in China. According to the report here, hundreds of sheep have been eerily walking around in a circle for 12 days straight in northern China's Inner Mongolia region. The bizarre behavior captured on surveillance video shows the large flock continuously marching clockwise in a near-perfect circle on a farm. Some other sheep can be seen spectating from the outside, watching the rotation as it occurs, while others at times stand motionless in the center. Video of the strange scene was leaked last Wednesday by Chinese state-run outlet People's Daily, which reported that, quote, the sheep are perfectly healthy, but that the case and cause of the behavior remains a mystery. The sheep owner, identified as Miss Mao, claimed the spectacle began with a few sheep before the whole flock joined. And although there are some 34 sheep pens at this farm, only the sheep in one of the pens, the one you're seeing here called number 13, were acting in this strange and mysterious way. And so yeah, guys, stuff involving animals like this has always creeped me out. I've done many videos on cattle abductions, cattle being found completely drained or with organs missing and with incisions on their bodies that look to have been made with some sort of surgical tool or laser, or just, animals like sheep and deer and cows acting erratically, birds as well, dropping from the sky. And, some people could claim that this has to do or is caused by, maybe a bacterial disease or the animals, being depressed and disoriented or used to walking in circles like this for months and months at a time. But I thought it was strange that out of, almost 35 pens, it was just this one, oddly enough, named number 13. And make of that what you will, but it was the only pen where they were walking like this. And the fact that they were walking in this circle for 12 days straight, and that's up to when this was posted, that just, to think of them doing this for 12 straight days, if it was just an hour, that would be one thing, but this is definitely, eerie, it's unsettling, and I think many of us understand that animals have sort of a sixth sense, and we've seen a lot of UFO cases that are directly linked to animals and livestock behaving strangely. So, creepy stuff. I wonder if there was any sort of other strange, weather activity or just, overall UFO strangeness in that area. But like many things in China, you kind of just get these one-off stories, and due to censorship and just the way the country is, you really don't get to learn a lot more. So regardless, if you've experienced something like this or can shed some light on it, put it down in the comments below. For only the best in data, footage, and imagery relating to UFOs, aliens, and overall unexplained activity occurring both on Earth and out in space, stick right here with Secure Team. Throw this video a like or a super thanks if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and follow me on all of my social medias, which you can find all in one place now. From Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, just click my Linktree link down in the video description to follow me and to get updates and news as it comes in. So thank you all for stopping by today. Stay tuned, stay safe, and I'll see you all back in just a bit.